So my camera's weird.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. If you're tuning in, please share. I'm back next on the mic. I'm so happy to have Mr. Carl on a show tonight with Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I've heard great things about your organization, and I just had to have you on my show. So I'm honored. And Carl, how was your day? How's everything been? Everything's been great, productive.
No, it's been really good. Short of the rain, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Okay, thank you so much. So I heard about Sleep in Heavenly Peace through my team, and they were like, "Have you heard of this organization?" I was like, "No, I have not." And then I seen some pictures of you in the community on Facebook, and then I went to Ajay's I Believe in Me back to school event, and one of your people in your organization was there. And so
Yes.
I was like, yes, I get to speak to these people and figure out what they're doing, these great work they're doing in our community. So tell me first, where are you from, Carl? Where are you originally from?
I grew up in Wheaton,
Okay.
and I lived there until '91, and then I got transferred to Atlanta when I worked for Hewlett Packard, and returned back here 3 years ago when my son and his family and my grandchildren moved back up here. Didn't want to be 700 miles away. I want to be visiting my grandchildren so I can pinch their little cheeks in person and not visit them on FaceTime.
Oh yeah, we love grandbabies. I have a grandbaby. I have one grandbaby, and he is 1 year old, almost going to be 2. So yes, I understand how that feels, and I always ask my daughter how he's doing. But so I know how the grandbabies are. So tell me, you live in Frederick. Tell me what guided you to be part of this organization. What started this organization? How did you get into the mix of that? What put it on your heart to start this organization?
Well, years ago, I worked with an appliance repair business up here in Frederick County, and I got to go into a lot of people's homes. And I grew up in Wheaton, and 5 kids and 1 breadwinner, and we didn't have a lot, but we had beds. And I was surprised to see all of the things that we took for granted, even in my neighborhood, that people didn't have. And I sort of tucked that away. I never really forgot that. And then when I was getting ready to move back up here, I saw a show on Facebook called Returning the Favor. And they go around the country and they find groups that are helping the community, and they find ways to help those helpers move up to the next level. And one of the episodes was Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and they were putting beds under kids. And I was retired, and I went, this is something I can do. So that's why I wanted to get involved in it, because I knew the need was real, and I knew that it was something that I could do to contribute. So
you just paid it forward, basically. And saying, this is how I could pay it forward. And I love paying it forward. It's so rewarding. And what you get back in return, just paying it forward to people that you don't know, is amazing. So tell me a little bit about Sleep in Heavenly Peace. What's your mission and what you guys actually do in Frederick?
It's the mission is real simple. Our motto is no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. So what we do is we raise funds, and with that we buy lumber from Lowe's Home Improvements here in town, which we take and cut the size and sand and stain. And then once a month we have a volunteer event where people assemble these beds, all the pieces for them. And then we get requests for beds from the community, from needy families who have kids 4 to 17 who are sleeping on the floor. They might be sleeping on a couch, or they might be on a mattress with a couple of siblings on the floor. And we will go in and install the bed, complete with new mattresses, blankets, sheets, pillows, set it all up in their home or apartment free of charge.
That is amazing. Now, you did mention that you had seen this organization on different other platforms. How many chapters are there in Sleeping Heavily Peace, and are there any chapters international?
There's kind of exploded. We became, I think the first chapter in Maryland 3 years ago was number 9.
Okay.
In January of 2019, we became 106, and now there's 275 chapters in, I think, 43 states. There's one in Canada, there's one in Bermuda, and there's one in the Bahamas.
Wow.
But I know that the founder and his wife have traveled to Europe to talk about the program there as well.
Right. Now, when you say that you have, you make beds for kids that do not have beds, they're sleeping on the couch, they're sleeping on the floors, they're sleeping on mattresses, they're sleeping wherever they can sleep. Now, when me and you met for lunch, right? Like, we met for lunch because I wanted to meet this person in person. Like, I had to meet him in person. We had to sit down and talk. And I was almost in tears because I'm thinking, like, this is happening in our city. Like the people that, I mean, we literally go to work, we come home, we go to work, we go downtown, we say we're doing so much in Frederick for people, which I know a lot of organizations that do tremendous work in Frederick. But to know that we have kids still sleeping on the floor, like that blows my mind. And I'm just like, we are obviously not doing enough, right? I know me and you had a discussion that back in the day when we were going to school, teachers would come to our homes, right? And teachers don't do that anymore. Right. So they are probably educating students that don't have a bed, right?
Right.
And that is that.
And they're right under our nose.
Right under our nose. Like we walked past them numerous of times. And we talked
to a gentleman in Thurmont the other day, and he was saying, "Really?" And I wanted to tell him, but I didn't. I said, I wanted to tell him I could take a softball or tennis ball and hit one of the places that we've put beds in from where I'm standing.
Right.
And we just don't know that, you know.
Right. And
there's a lot of organizations that are doing great things, like you said. You have the Salvation Army, you have Goodwill, and you have lots of like the Rescue Mission who provides meals. So there's food, shelter, and housing going on, but Sleeping Heavenly Peace is focused specifically on beds for children. So,
yep. And I think that's one thing we say, well, we put a roof over their head. Right. We're like, oh, we put a roof over, but then those people move in there with nothing, you know, and so, and beds is not something we actually think like, do they have? We're just assuming that they have their stuff. Right. Yeah. So, and that's not the case. So on that note, how many families have you helped currently in Frederick and in Frederick County and in Frederick City?
In the 3 years we've helped, I think it's about 387 families, but we have installed 570 beds.
Wow.
Now, some of those are singles, some of those are bunk beds, but 570 some.
And beds. So I have to say, I didn't know about your organization. So there's a lot of people in Frederick, I'm pretty sure, are still not familiar with the organization. And so that's why I thought it was so important to have you on my show so that people will know that you exist. And if they know families that need beds, that they can reach out to you. And those people that pockets are deep, that they could possibly
let them come forward. Yes.
Put that money to the table and say, you know what, we're going to help Sleeping Heavenly Peace to give them the money to help them to expand and to help more families, because we all can pay it forward in some form or fashion. And so being that said, what would be your biggest challenge in your organization?
Of course, it's always raising money.
Right.
So lumber grows on trees, but money to buy lumber does not, you know.
Right.
So that's our, because that's the thing that has to happen first. But we are fortunate in that it's sort of like National Public Radio. We ask you to do what you can do. Some people will come and volunteer their time for cutting lumber, picking it up, or on build day. Others don't have time for that, so they will send us funding. But we've been fortunate to have some partners like Jim Bass Realtors, Rob Crop Realtors, the American Legion, who provide us funds, and on build day, they bring their volunteers as well. And especially with Rob Crop and Jim Bass, they came with a whole carload of sheets and blankets and pillows as well. So some are able to do a lot and some are able to do a little bit. We just ask you, do whatever you can do, and we'll combine your donation, whether it's time or money or effort, with that of other people to get the job done.
Now, when you say that you need the funds to buy the material, what companies are you getting the material from, and how are they assisting you with your movement and blessing people in Frederick?
Well, the lumber all comes from Lowe's.
Okay.
And the local people are very helpful to us, but Lowe's has done an endowment for Sleep in Heavenly Peace nationally. And I know that last year, I don't know how much they donated to Sleep in Heavenly Peace, but when they carved it up, our chapter got like $4,000, which was enough for us to do 20 beds.
Okay. And so the price to make a bed single, like, what is that price for?
We figure it's around $200.
Okay.
Yeah. But to get started, Black & Decker Stanley over in Baltimore donated lots of saws and sanders and those sorts of things. We've gotten help from so many organizations within town, around the city and in the community that came out. Some people donated tables for us to set all our gear up on, but mostly it was Lowe's and Black & Decker that got us our equipment to get started.
And so we still have to get Home Depot on board, basically.
Yes. Have to bring Big Orange into the game. Yeah.
You have to bring Big Orange in the game. So anybody that has connection with Home Depot, we need your help to bring them in on the game. Or maybe I need to send Home Depot this video and be like, what's up? Like, what are you doing?
I don't want to badmouth them because
no, we're not. We're just telling them to join in the fun, right?
Yeah. They paid my mortgages for 10 years, so I have to be nice to them, even though they haven't joined us yet.
Well, we won't badmouth them. We'll just ask them to join in the fun. How about that? So I have to say, like, if I have a lot of people that watch my show, like, and it goes, you'll see as the week goes on or the days go on, a lot of people watch it and share it. I know that some of the stories that you shared with me, and what was one of the stories, I know personally, if I go do it, Carl, I'm going to cry. Like, I'm probably just going to be like, I'm going to be a mess. So you're going to have lots of napkins and
but
get it together.
It does. It hits you right behind the sternum. But that's a great motivator. I think that when you go into these homes and you see what they have and don't have, and you go, these people need my help and I can help. Right. And I said it's a great motivator. But I don't deny that there's times where I've had to turn away from people because I didn't want to cry in front of them.
Yeah. Because I think that one story you shared with me, you have to share it. And it was with the high school student. Like that one hit me home because I'm like, I have older kids. And I'm like, wow, please share that story with us.
We got a message from one of the school counselors that they knew of a student, a senior in high school, who had no bed. And this
Mhm.
thing had no bed. Okay, that's one thing. So we arrived at the house, and the student took us down the back stairs into the basement where he slept. And we stepped in the door, and there was a room maybe about 10 feet long and 8 feet wide. And once we got through the door, I said, okay, so where do you sleep? Where do you want the bed set up? And he goes, right here. And I looked around, and all that was there was a cement floor
Mm.
with a couple of little thin blankets and a dog pillow for a dog bed for a pillow.
Mm.
And I just looked at my brother, happened to do the delivery with me that day. And I just looked at my brother, and I said, as I turned away from this kid so he wouldn't see me, I said, let's get the bed out of the truck.
Yeah.
Because I needed those 90 seconds
Mm-hmm.
to go out and get the bed and sort of collect myself again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so once we set that up, it's like, I wish you could see the smile on his face, because
Yeah.
it was a
And
cement
to think
floor.
like he's a senior. Like,
Yeah,
like that kid can't even sleep right to do his school work because he's sleeping on cement. And
Yeah.
people don't understand, like, those little things are very essential to our kids' education, to our kids' mental. Like, they cannot come to class every day and function well if they don't have a place to sleep.
right.
Or something comfortable to sleep on. Their backs are hurting. It's just they can't go into the whole REM, like deep sleep, when you're sleeping that way.
Yeah,
Right?
you can't get focused when you had a night's sleep like that.
Right.
And we find that kids who don't sleep well have bigger behavioral, academic, and health issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, even as adults, when do we make our stupidest mistakes? It's when we're tired and we're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sleep in heavenly peace doesn't do anything about the hungry part, but we figured we can give you a good night's sleep by giving you a warm and comfortable bed to sleep in, that tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and you're still going to have these challenges in front of you, but you're going to be refreshed, recharged, and in a better position to deal with the challenges that you have every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you said, going to school and being able to focus on a subject because your mind is rested and ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And so, go ahead.
The other thing we talked about too is we have resources in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use those resources on the children. If we spend these resources on the lives of children, maybe we won't have to spend more expensive treatment on adults later on in their lives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now
let me ask you a question. So this brings me back to like brainstorming. So like I work in Baltimore, and I have to constantly bring agencies together, right, to brainstorm. Like tomorrow we have what we call the round table. And so I have 7 judges that come, and they sit with about 30 organizations, and we discuss what they bring to the table for an individual. And those are called how we collaborate to bring those wraparound services. Have you ever been in a such setting as such, or thought about maybe getting in a setting where you can bring different organizations that have different tools? So, because you're going in their homes, right? So you see what they need, where Salvation Army does not go into their homes, and all those organizations do not go into their homes. They see them when they come to them. Have you ever thought about maybe bringing that whole like analogy or concept together to say, listen, we visit this home, can we work together for individuals as such? Have you guys ever thought about that?
Well, we've thought and act sort of in 2 directions, towards and away.
Okay.
And I know that I participated in a group over at Waverly Elementary School. Mrs. Mejia ran a program over there about once a month.
Mhm.
And she drew together people from different organizations to have a small round table
Mhm.
to chat about one, about what each individual group was doing, but it also gave the others a chance to hear
Mhm.
what other things were going on in the community. And the other thing we spend a lot of time on is finding paths out into the community. Churches, I do a lot of work with the Frederick County Public School, the community liaisons and the guidance counselors, because we know they're the ones that probably hear firsthand from children,
Mhm.
the needs of the children.
Right. Right.
So we're reaching out to them, but like you said, we're always looking for other paths to get the word into the community.
Right.
Jasmine, gosh,
Jasmine DeCola.
Jasmine DeCola.
Yeah.
She came to one of our builds,
Mhm.
and she and I did a bilingual Q&A,
Yeah.
which she then translated and sent out through her social media. That's a way to get the word out.
Mhm.
Working with the schools, working with churches. We went to the food distribution event on Route 40, I guess about a month ago, and handed out flyers. So we're always trying to find ways and other paths to get the word out into the community about what Sleep in Heavenly Peace is doing.
Well, I definitely will be contacting you more about how to connect, because I know we need to get into the pastors, the churches, and see how they could, they are work directly with families also.
Mhm.
And so maybe we could do like a pastor roundtable, and you could present like what you do, and because they might not know what you do, and they definitely are a good avenue to reaching out to the community. And so that might be an idea. Now, I know, like you touched on a little bit, but we're going to go a little further into, you provide the beds, right?
That's correct.
What about the mattresses? What about the comforters, the pillows? How do you get those resources, and how can the community who is going to watch this and listen to you, how can we help you with that?
The mattresses we buy from a company in Indianapolis.
Okay.
They are working with the corporate side of Sleep in Heavenly Peace in Idaho,
Okay.
to say, hey, we're going to need 10,000 mattresses over the coming year. And, if companies can then plan for their production. We get a lot of blankets from Project Lioness, which is a group of women at a church up in Middletown. And there's another group called Four County Quilters over in New Market.
Okay.
That donate blankets and quilts and Afghans to us. We have people who donate sheet sets and pillows. The Key Club at Tuscarora High School had a food drive and a bedding event, and we got like 27 pillows, 100 sets of sheets, and I think 10 or 12 mattresses during that event. So, but most of the bedding is donated right now. So we really use most of the funds that we get to buy the lumber and the mattresses.
Okay, so all those places you mentioned were in the county, right?
Yes.
So me and you live in the city, so you probably know where I'm going with this. So us city people, we need to do better. Like if the county, you're getting all these donations from the county, which is great. Please keep coming. But I want the city of Frederick to pour into your organization, because you have provided a lot of beds for kids in the city. And so that says a lot. Like if you're providing beds in the city, we need to take care of our people in the city also. So if you are getting all these things from the county to help people in the city, that kind of makes us city people look like, like we got to do more. I'm just going to be honest with you, Carl. Like we have to do more in the city. I mean, we got to do more. And that's what is a big thing for me, of just like getting people, challenging people to like, how can we help organizations that help youth?
Right. We started out, Sleep in Heavenly Peace tells you that when you start a chapter, start out with a small number of zip codes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. Once you get up and running, then you can add. So yes, we have focused a lot on bed installations close to the city.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I'm working with the middle schools. There's like 14 of them spread around the greater county, to try to take and spread that work out to, the corners like Sibyllesville and Brunswick and Adamstown, and, places away from the city, because there are kids out there that are sleeping on the floor as well. Yes, it's easy to deliver beds to the city, but we need to force ourselves to reach out to the rest of the community as well.
Yep.
The rest of the county.
Yep. And you're right, because we do have we're the next biggest county to Baltimore. So our county reaches, it's huge. And so I know companies and organizations have a projection of what they want to do by the end of the year. Do you guys have a waiting list for beds, and what's your projected number by the end of the year?
We're planning on continuing to make 40 beds a month.
40 beds a month. Okay.
If we get a larger space and an influx of funds for buying lumber and mattresses, we've got a pool of 200 volunteers who will show up to do bed builds. But we figured for the size of the group that we have now, that we're going to try to do 40 beds a month, every month, which would be about 500 beds a year. Okay.
And so this year alone, you've done 500. How many have you done in a year? So this year so far?
You caught me on reverse.
Take your time.
3. We did 100 the first year. We did 175 the second year. That's 275. So we've done almost 300 this year.
Okay, so 300 this year, and you're going to do, and so that, okay, perfect. So
we
now
had a COVID 6 months where we couldn't do builds, we couldn't do deliveries, we couldn't do anything.
Right. And so do you have any families on the waiting list?
Not many right now, but our delivery crew was on vacation. The leaders of the delivery crew on vacation, so we sort of held out, but we were opening the doors up again, like I said, of reaching out to the 13 middle schools, and have a couple other organizations like Maria Herrera with the Spanish-speaking community, and a couple others to say, hey, go ahead and pass those flyers out.
Right. And so
we can get response really quick. When we did the food drop-off, food distribution on 40, we went from like 12 to 70 requests in like 2 days. Yep.
And that's how and it's when people know, they definitely utilize it. And so I'm definitely going to come out and do a building day with you. And I make sure that I won't get any splinters.
Bring your gloves.
Cut off my finger. I don't know.
I saw the heavy wood cutting is done on Wednesday. So come Saturday morning, it's mostly just sanding, some light drilling.
Yeah, I'll do the light work.
And screwing the head and the footboards together. But
yeah. So when I'm definitely going to come volunteer. And while we're talking about volunteers, you said you have 200 volunteers, and so how many volunteers is it hard for you to get volunteers, and do you need more volunteers?
No, it's not hard.
A lot of volunteers.
Yeah. Well, what we do when we're getting ready to do a build week is, like I said, we pick the lumber up on Monday.
Right.
Have a 2-hour session on Wednesday to cut it to length, and then Friday night for a couple of hours, set up all the tables and the tents and stuff, and then Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, opening prayer. Let's build some beds.
Right.
So I send out a message before then to say, it's a little tool called Sign Up Genius. It says we need this many people on this day at this spot, and people can then go in and sign up for it, which is really nice because then we get to see, do we have enough people for these tasks coming up? And if something happens and we have to change our schedule a little bit, we can use that tool to send out a message to everybody who volunteered for, say, build day, to say, hey, we're gonna have to start a couple of minutes later because of this or that. It makes it really easy to communicate out to the volunteers.
And so, like you explained the process of the building day. If somebody needs to refer a family, how could they do that? And if you can, put your information in this little box right there. See where it says like the comment
Chat
box?
with others.
Yep. You can put your email, right? You put your information right in there and they will get it. So, and so let me ask you, do you guys build all year round, even in the winter? Because it's cold.
Yes, we were fortunate last winter that St. John's Properties made a warehouse available to us through the winter. And we rocked it there.
Yay!
But, you know, they gave it to us for free. But then a paying customer next door wanted to expand their business, and so we had to go. So we went back to the farm. So we're still knocking on the doors with the Office of Economic Development. I've reached out to the mayor's office and some of the other organizations within the Frederick city government to see if we can find a warehouse or a place that's empty and has been vacant for a while, to see if we could set up and use that temporarily over the winter time to continue to do bed builds.
And how has that been working when you reach out to the government, you know, the entity of the government? How's that been working out?
They've been very responsive, but it's going to take some time to sort of figure out where these. We looked at the Trinity School down there by the ballpark to see if that
everybody eyes that building.
Yeah. Well, it's it would be nice to have a spot like that that's close to town, because it makes it easier to get to. It'll help us centralize. When we were in the warehouse, we had all of the beds and the bedding in one spot. So when the delivery team went out to do deliveries, and they rock it. They'll deliver like 25 or 28 beds a week after they've come home from their full-time 9-to-5 job.
Wow.
So it was nice that everything in one spot. They just backed the truck in, loaded up the number of beds and the bedding that they needed for that. And that's why we're trying to find another vacant warehouse or space close to the city to centralize that and make it easier for donors and volunteers to come in for build day or lumber cutting day or whatever.
And so we had talked about the money part. Let's get back to that topic. So I want you to put a dollar amount out there and say, like, because I'm a firm believer when you put something out in the universe, like, and you speak it and you believe it, like that money comes to you. Whatever you put out in the universe comes to you. But right now we're going to put money out in the universe. And so what dollar amount do you need to raise to get all those beds built, that goal that you like to do?
For the beds that we projected building for the rest of the year, we need to raise $24,000.
$24,000. So everybody hears that.
That's the next 3 builds of 40 beds each, 120 beds will cost us $24,000 for the lumber and the mattresses. Like I said, the blankets and the pillows and the sheets, they will, all we have to do is say, hey, we need some more, and they will show up. But
and so, yep, that is so the city, my city residents of Frederick, we need 24,000. So our part is to pay it forward and donate to Sleep in Heavenly Peace. He's going to put that information in the chat box so everybody has the information of to pour into this organization so that he could build those beds. You're also going to put the information in there that if they need a referral, oh, wait, I think he'll be back. So to do a referral, he's going to put the information in. So definitely please donate to this organization so that he is able to build those beds that he needs to build. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, I shot myself in the foot there. Hold on.
Did you get in there?
Here, I just went offline quick to get this.
You take your time. So, let me ask you a question. If you could say anything to the people in Frederick of what you would like to, of what you need and how they can help, either volunteering, and giving out pillows and comforters and things like that, what would you like to say?
This is a community effort. We can't do it all ourselves, and we need help. But I think that the people who get involved, especially when they have done deliveries and they see the result, the good thing about doing build days and deliveries is, at the end of your day, some kid's life in town is going to change, and it's going to change dramatically by what you do today. And that's why we encourage, we get more out of it. The kids get a bed, but I can't explain to you, if you haven't been on the delivery, what it's like to, a 4-year-old comes up to me at a delivery, and he's got a pillow clutched tight to his chest. And he says, "Mister, is this my pillow?" And I looked at him and said, "Yeah, that's your pillow." And he goes, "It's my pillow." I said, "Yeah, and it goes with that Spider-Man bed right there. It's a pillow." You'd have thought that I drove a full-size Tonka truck into his house. And
right.
He just lit up like it was Christmas Day over a pillow. And it's something that we take for granted. Every day we come home, we put our head in the pillow. And I just see them happy just will warm you. Have you ever watched The Grinch?
Right.
You'll know how it would felt when the Grinch found his heart.
Yep. And that is the great part of what you do. And to know that young man was happy about a pillow, and our kids are asking for iPhones. It's like, it was a pillow, like a $3 pillow that he was so happy about, and that you guys have blessed him with. And we have to be part of those blessings. And I have to say that I'm definitely going to be volunteering, and I definitely have to do the visit. I got to get prepared for that. But I would definitely, and I know that the lady that helps me with my team and everything, she's probably going to be like, "Get yourself together, get it right." So I will just be a ball of mess, but I will feel good about doing what I did, and I will be even more overjoyed that you guys are continuously do it every day or throughout the year to continue to bless youth with beds. And so I did put your information in there, and I hope that this message gets out to everybody And I'm going to put your information again on my website so that people can give me 1 minute.
I'm going to copy this.
The beauty of having kids while you're home.
Yes.
So the beauty of having the kids in the house. So I will definitely be putting your information in there in that chat and making sure that everybody gets the information that they need to get, because they have to. We have to support all of our organizations, and we have some great organizations in Frederick that we support. So supporting your organization will be a piece of cake because we have so many people that want to support great organizations like yourself. And do you have any more information you want to put in?
I do. I want to copy this. Copy this link and put it in here.
Okay.
Oh, good. It's the short version. Now, this is a video that was occasionally
Can I show this
we
video? Let's see.
yeah occasionally we hear stories from other chapter presidents about people who say, yeah, I want to get involved, but then when it comes to it, they're like, oh gosh, what did I get myself into? So this second link is to a video that was made by a chapter in Kansas City, and it's 3 minutes long, but it shows basically the whole process for Sleeping Heavenly Peace, from lumber on a trailer to pre-cut day to build day to kids sliding in and laughing about sliding into their new beds. So it's like I said, it's just 3 minutes long, and it sort of shows the whole thing. So the people get an idea ahead of time, and they go, yeah, like I did when I first saw. I went, yeah, that's something I can do. Even I can do that.
Right.
Then they feel more comfortable about jumping in and becoming involved.
So, and I hope that everybody sees this video. I will definitely be sharing all this on my Facebook page. And so, Carl, I want to thank you, one, for being on my show.
I appreciate another path into the community to get the word.
Yeah, and I will. You won't. This is not the last time we're going to be talking. Yeah. So I will definitely we'll be meeting together again.
I'm glad that we had this opportunity to chat too, because the other thing I want to say, and guys are not good at this, is that we need the involvement of the women in the community.
Yes, women get things
because in a lot of cases you're closer to the issues, and you're better at organizing certain facets of the things that we guys struggle through to get the word out into the community and get the beds out in the community. And I think that the more that we can involve the ladies in the community, the better things will be for the kids.
I'm glad you acknowledged that, because girl power is so important.
We're basically a bunch of old retired military, police, firemen,
And women get things done. Like, we get it out there. So like, this is definitely a good opportunity that you had, that we're giving each other, because I learned something and you got the platform, and you guys are always welcome to be on my show. I will definitely be recording live when I'm with you on the thing, so that people can see and see what happens when in the building and what goes on. So thank you so much, Carl. And it's such a pleasure. God bless you and your organization. Would you like to add any more?
I do. I have a couple other stories.
Okay, great.
Sometimes we get focused on the fact that we're delivering beds to children to get them off the floor.
Yeah.
But we have found over time that there's a benefit to the rest of the family from this. We had a teacher here in Frederick County who went home one day and found out that his brother-in-law had been killed. And his sister was left with 5 children, including one that was 6 months old. And so he said, gosh, we have to do something about this. So he brought 4 of his sister's children into his house. He already had 2, and they were in a small townhouse. And the counselor at the school reached out to us and said, hey, can you help out? So what we were able to do was to take some bunk beds to his townhouse and set them up so they get all the kids in the house and in beds of their own, while his sister tried to figure out, how she was going to negotiate the future.
Mm-hmm. And this is just, and the base of that story, this is a normal person with a job, things like that. They just something unexpectedly came up. And
right. They find themselves in a situation
right.
of not their doing.
Right. Right.
Another one is we had a non-custodial parent who couldn't have their children spend the weekend because they didn't have any beds.
Yep.
So social worker said, nope. So they contacted us, and we were able to go and set up a bunk bed in one room for the 2 boys and a single in the other room for their sister. And now the kids get to have visitation and exposure to both of their parents. While the parents are figuring out, at their level, the kids still get the benefit of both parents.
Yep. And that's real. I mean, years back, I used to be a housing manager of women that were single and had kids. And so I would house these women and their children. And it was a sad day that day. This woman had about 9 kids. And I had to choose which kid I could take out of foster home to live with their mother based on how many beds I had and how many kids. That's a real story. If you don't have the bed, they can't come with you. Like it's just as simple as a bed. And so you have many families, and you're going to have many families like that custodial parents that just can't do it because they don't have a bed, or a mom that's kids in a foster home and she's trying to get her kid back, but they won't let her do it because she don't have a bed. So you will be blessing people in different moments and chapters in their lives. And you don't necessarily have to be a family that is just, that's impoverished. It could be normal people that just need a bed. So
grandparents are getting their grandchildren regularly because the parents are in treatment or are incarcerated. Yeah. And, his grandparents are living on a limited income already. And they go, well, I'm taking the kids because they're my kin, but I don't really have beds for them. So we provide beds for them. And, there's a lot of people who find themselves in circumstances where they grab their children and stuff they can throw in a bag and they escape from their environment. And they find somebody who will put a roof over their head, a family member or friend, while they escape. And we're able to provide beds so that the kids have that level of support while the adult world is being figured out.
And we have all these people we talked about, we have all those people in our community.
Yes, we do.
More than one of those people in our community. We have multiple people like that in our community. So we need to think outside the box, everybody, and definitely get outside of our homes, get outside of ourselves, our own silo of just going to work, going downtown, eating, and all those things that we do in our normal lives, and think about what could we do for people that need this? Simple as a bed. I mean, and that needs to happen. So yeah.
And so I think that works out. We had this couple who reached out to us and said, how can we help? Said, well, we need bundles of bedding. And they sent out a message through their Facebook account and to some of their friends and said, this is what we're doing. And then they called me up one day and said, where can we deliver it? I said, oh, I'll come and pick it up. When we got to their house, they had, it took me 2 carloads because they had about 29 bundles that had a sheet, pillow, and a blanket, all packaged up. They had like 28 or 29 bundles. And I just, I figured I was going to get a armload of bedding, and there was all these bundles. That just bowled me over. So.
Yeah. And we talked about that, Carl. So you need to use that Sign Up Genius to have people come pick up those comforters for you.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I mean. We need to learn to delegate some of this stuff out. Yeah.
You gotta delegate this stuff. Like there's people out there that would drive and go pick up those comforters for you. Use those 200 volunteers. And do some delegation and be like, hey, can you do this for me, Sign Up Genius? Yeah. I have the Sign Up Genius. So if you say I need a car writer and I'm available, I'll be like, I can do it. I can drive somewhere, clear my mind. I don't know.
We'll ride.
Definitely use the resources because I'm pretty sure there is people out there that will go and pick up those comforters and pillows for you. So you don't have to go do that by yourself.
Yeah, these are all new skills that these old guys I work with are developing,
It's okay. You're doing great. You're doing great. So I thank you. And I have your Sign Up Genius, and I'm going to be looking forward to getting that in my email when you need help. And I'm pretty sure that my team is watching, so she's probably thinking right now of how we can come up with a master plan to help the organization.
On that link at the top where it says SHP beds, Marilyn.
Yep, that one right there.
If you want to get involved, there's a link there. It says, hey, tell me more. There's a link there for requesting beds. There's a link there for, we'll send you to a donation page. And on the donation page, if you want to donate $5 for a pillow or $10 for a set of sheets, or, it's whatever you're able to do. So, but I encourage you to go and watch the other second little video. Because like I said, in 3 minutes, it sort of gives you the whole picture of what's going on. And the one thing that I always seem to forget is the name of this game is No Kid Sleeps on the Floor in Our Town.
Yep.
And one day I want to be able to visit with you on here and say, no kid sleeps on the floor in Frederick County.
That's right. And I'm going to be so happy because it's already put in the universe, so it's going to happen.
I was looking just this afternoon. Between all of the chapters, we have built 23,000 beds this year.
Wow.
But there's 1,000 more kids in Frederick County that need a bed.
Yep.
So we got more work to do.
We do. We have a lot of work to do. So thank you so much for that. And Frederick, let's get to work. So, because it's getting cold outside.
Yeah,
those concrete floors, them kids are sleeping on, is not going to be comfortable. Yeah.
Thanks again for this opportunity. I really appreciate you
so much. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you in the community. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.